For tonight's brief Thursday night program, I would like to talk about an ayat which has been repeated twice, one after another, from Surah Shar, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the reality of this life in this dunya. I think there is a need for us to always refocus on why we are here, and to realize that the dunya is Darul Bala or Darul Amal. When we say Darul Bala, which means it's the place of test and trial. There are challenges that we have to go through, and this is very much connected, this concept, with this idea of the life in hereafter. If a person doesn't believe in Qiyamah and the Akhirat, then this concept has no meaning at all. Then they will just try to maximize whatever goodness they have from the worldly point of view here, because they know this is the only thing. But if we look at the Islamic perspective and the revealed religions who talk about the hereafter and the day of judgment, then this concept makes sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us to this dunya in order to see what is the worth of ourselves. And one cannot know himself or herself, or others cannot evaluate the individuals unless they see that person going through some, challenging situations. When things are okay, everybody is fine. That's not the time when you come to know, whether this person is going to be loyal with you or not. It is during the time of difficulties and challenges that the worth of a person comes up. You just think about somebody who goes to the school. The entire high school, and at the end he doesn't, appear for the exams, in the 4 years. Well, that person cannot expect any, certification or reward on this issue, because people go through that, but then the time of test comes in. It is the time of test that the school and the teacher would be able to evaluate the worth of this individual. And so when we talk about this dunya, we have to realize that this is Darul Imtihan, Darul Bala, this is the place of test and trial. And the worth of our iman, our steadfastness, the quality of our amal all depends on the pressure which is put on us, because that is the purpose of this dunya. But at the end, we are always told, don't look at the challenges and hardship and the difficulties to be there all the time, because at the end you will have the good result. In many cases, you will see the result in this dunya. And before I go to this ayat, let me share with you a dua that we recite every day. Sometimes things become ritual, it's part of the habit, so we don't really focus on the wordings and the message that we are getting. One of the duas that we recite is the dua after Namaz Asr. And there we are actually, reminded of this reality all the time. And this is a dua which has come from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. There are 3 parts to this dua. In the first one, we basically ask the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from 4 things. Number 1, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min nafsin la tashba'. Nafs means our soul, or just talking about referring to the belly in the real sense, because that is the symbol of our desires. And we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that yes, you created us as human beings, you created some desires within us, but Allah, we ask you protection from the desires which are never satisfied. So give us this contentment in fulfilling whatever we do, and after that we should be able to control. And what that means is that we do not go beyond what is halal as far as fulfillment of the desires is concerned, whether it is food and drink or other desires that Allah has created for us. Then we are talking about a spiritual situation. وَمِن قَلْبٍ لَا يَخْشَعُ. O Allah, I seek protection from the heart which is not humble to you. So give me that humility on a spiritual level, to be khashi' when I stand up on the musalla, and also when I make the decisions in my life whether I should do or not, do this or not. If the heart is khashi' and it is humble to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do. And then number 3, وَمِنْ عِلْمٍ لَا يَنْفَعُ. O Allah, I seek protection from the knowledge which is not going to benefit me. There are different, issues that we can talk about. If somebody is very well, expert, during those days there were people, you go and just ask them, can you give me the line of my ancestry? They will give you all the names till about, 10 generations. That's an ilm. But it really doesn't have much of a benefit for that individual. When we talk about ilmun la yanfa, one of the meaning would be that the knowledge that we acquire but we do not put to practice. People have this habit of using the name of Marhum Ayatullah Bahjat. He is known to be a very pious, ulama of our time. And there are so many, hundreds and hundreds of stories from some of the speakers, especially the lady Zakirat, mashallah. Every majlis they have a story about him. And all these stories have come after he died. So we have to be a little bit careful about, the stories. But there is one statement which is quoted by a close student of him, where a person came to him, a young man. These days everybody has this desire. I Bahjat, I want to become Arif. I want to become, have irfan and spirituality like you. So tell me, give me some clue what to do. And his answer was very important, very, very powerful. He said, tell me, have you already practiced all the things that you know? Once you've done it, then come to me and then I'll tell you what to do next. So we have knowledge of so many things, but we do not really practice. And this is where we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, keep us away from the knowledge which is known nafa and benefit. And number 4 items of protection. Number 1 was وَمِن دُعَاءٍ, and the last one is وَمِن دُعَاءٍ لَا يُسْمَعُ. O Allah, protect us from the dua that I do, but a dua that you don't listen to it. And one of the reasons why the du'as do not even reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is because we created, barriers between ourselves and the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by sins. And this is where we talk about this issue of tawassul. To make the Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt his wasila, so that our du'as can reach with their wasila to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat. So this dua of after namaz asr, the second part is relevant to the theme. That this dunya is darul bala. And that is where we say, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-yusra ba'dal usr. That, oh Allah, we ask you to have yusr after usr. Usr means difficulty, hardship. And yusr means to have it easy. And so the dua is that, oh Allah, give us yusr after usr. We are not asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to give us difficulties and challenges. It will be there. What we are asking is, Allah, at least give us that light at the end of the tunnel. We are going through usr, but we know there is usr at the end. That is what we are asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالْفَرَجَ بَعْدَ الْكَرْبِ. Now, when we talk about yusr here, it could be financial matter, usr, difficulty from the financial point of view. This is just one dimension of it. The second is وَالْفَرَجَ بَعْدَ الْكَرْبِ. That Allah, give me, I'm asking for freedom from grief. Karb is grief, and faraj is to be free from that grief. When we say عَجَّلَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى فَرَجَهُ الشَّرِيفِ, praying for the Imam, we are talking about this, freedom from the grief and the, hardship that Imam is going through because of this process of ghaibat. Now here, when we talk about al-faraj ba'd al-karb, this could even refer to the issue of, political difficulties that we go through. Socio-political environments are not always same. As I just mentioned in the Friday khutbah, that you just go to Iraq at the moment, you will see there are challenges and difficulties that people go through. And so not all the times, you have the peaceful environment. And this is where we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for faraj after karb. And this is where, again, that we go through difficulties and Allah is testing us to see how we react to those difficult situations. But the dua is that, Allah, we want to see the faraj at the end. And the third element there is the issue of al-rakha ba'd al-shidda. Shidda means distress. Ar-rakha is relief from, so we are asking for relief from distress. This could refer, as one major example would be of physical challenges that we have. Illness or disability and things like that. And this is where, we see that in this sentence, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-yusra ba'd al-usr, wal-faraj ba'd al-karb, wal-rakha ba'd al-shidda. We are basically asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we accept that dunya is a place of difficulties and hardship. We are not denying that, and we are not saying that, we want to have an easy life. But Allah give us the life of hope, so that we know at the end of the tunnel there is light, that we will be helped by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually. Salawat. The last part of the dua, Allahumma ma bina min ni'matin famink, la ilaha illa ant. That, oh Allah, this is thanking Allah and acknowledging that, oh Allah, whatever ni'mat that we see, blessings that we see, this is all from you. La ilaha illa ant. There is no God but you. You are the ultimate, provider for us. And therefore, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I ask forgiveness from you and repent towards you for my shortcomings. And this is where we see that even the du'as that our Imams have taught us actually reminds us of the realities of this dunya and how we should, mentally prepare ourselves. We cannot deny challenges. As Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he heard somebody saying that, oh Allah, do not put me in bala. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says, then what is the purpose of this dunya? You as if saying, oh Allah, don't let me go through the purpose of this life. No, you should be praying that, oh Allah, give me the ability to handle the bala and the challenges in the right way. So the bala would be there, the challenges would be there, but we are praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have the wisdom and the courage and the ability to handle, those challenges in the right way, which will be pleasing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat. In Surah Sharh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually talks about this issue referring to the Prophet himself. He is the example. He's Anbiya, he's the Sayyid al-Anbiya, He is the head of the Anbiya and the Mursaleen, and he had been assigned this duty of conveying Islam right from the very beginning. You know the history, and I'm just relying on your history there, that the opposition and the difficulties that he faced, to the extent that they finally planned to assassinate him, and he was forced to leave his own hometown and go to Mecca and go to Medina. And this is where we see that, even that during the difficult times, sometimes the Prophet will come home and really feel very down, if I may use that term, that I'm working so hard to convey the message of Allah that people are not listening to me. Those who accepted Islam in Mecca were very few. And this is where we see, the Prophet used to say that, at least when I go home, when I look at the face of Khadija, all my worries and difficulties are relieved. I don't think about anymore, because she was the moral support for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again consoling the Prophet that you are going through difficulty, but remember that at the end there is hope there. Where he begins by saying, Alam nashrah laka sadrak. That, oh Muhammad, have we not given you a big heart? A heart which can receive the revelation and wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A heart which has this element of mercy and benevolence towards even those who are opposing him. وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِذْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَذَ ظَهْرَكَ. And oh Muhammad, didn't we not relieve you of the burden which was on your back? And this is where it refers to the support that Amirul Mu'mineen provided to Rasulullah when he reached to that age and started helping Rasulullah in Tabligh. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. And then Allah says, oh Muhammad, remember, we have elevated your name. And this is the amazing thing, that the dunya tried so much during the life of the Prophet, after the life of the Prophet, to the present time. The attempt to malign the name of the Prophet, the image of the Prophet, has been unprecedented in history. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We have elevated your name, and that name is always high. Means even in this difficult time that we are going through, when you look at the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the number of people who always stand up in millions and millions every day, and when they recite this kalima, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. This is one manifestation of the وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. And so after that, reminding him of these three blessings, he says, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. He repeats that twice. That, oh Muhammad, have hope. Because after every situation of usr and difficulty, there is ease. There is, a good situation happens after that. Things will be better. And this is a message not only for him, it is a message for us also. To always be hopeful with the mercy and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat pढ़ने पर. खुदावंद आलम ने इस सूरे में इस जुमले को रिपीट किया है, इन्ना मअल उसरे युसरा. इसमें अजीब उन्वान है. हम लोगों ने जो दुआ मांगी है उसमें कहा है हम लोगों ने कि खुदावंदा हम लोगों को मसलन फ़रज अता कर बादल कर्ब, यानी कर्ब जब ख़त्म हो जाए तो उसके बाद फ़रज हो. रखा हो बाद शिद्दा, बाद की बात है कि शिद्दत ख़त्म हो जाएगी तो रखा मिले. यहाँ खुदावंद आलम ने ताबीर ज़रा डिफरेंट है दुआ से. اس میں یہ ہے کہ فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ یسرا، مع کا ورڈ ہے، بعد نہیں ہے۔ خدا یہ نہیں کہتا ہے کہ عسر کے بعد یسر ملے گا، یہ نہیں کہتا ہے کہ پریشانی کے بعد آپ کو جو ہے آسانی ملے گی، بلکہ یہاں خداوند عالم کا کہنا ہے کہ پریشانی کے ساتھ ہی آسانی ہے۔ مطلب یہ ہے کہ if you are looking for that result at the end, you have to go through the process of the challenge and hardship. یہ نہیں ہے کہ وہ ایک دوسرے سے الگ ہے۔ فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ، عسر کے ساتھ ہے یسر، اور اس کو خداوند عالم نے ریپیٹ کیا ہے۔ یہ یسر کی جو بات ہو رہی ہے، آسانی کی بات ہو رہی ہے، اس زندگی میں جو ہے چیلنجز سے ہم کس طرح سے آسانی کے ساتھ اس کو کور کر سکیں۔ اس کا نتیجہ یہ نہیں ہے کہ انسان جو ہے دنیا ہی میں یسر کو دیکھے گا۔ کبھی کبھی انسان اس دنیا میں ابتلا سے گزرتا ہے، امتحان سے گزرتا ہے، اور اس کو نتیجہ دنیا میں نہیں ملے گا، ممکن ہے برزخ میں نظر آئے، یا اگر شاید آخرت میں نظر آئے۔ اور اس لیے انسان کو ہمیشہ یہ آخرت کے تصور کو اور دنیا کے جو ریلیشن شپ ہے آخرت کے ساتھ، یہ ہمیشہ اپنے ساتھ رکھنا چاہیے۔ وہ لوگ جو صرف دنیا کی بات کرتے ہیں، آخرت کو نہیں مانتے ہیں، ان کے لیے دنیا کی تکلیف کو برداشت کرنا مشکل ہو جاتا ہے، اس لیے کہ ان کے لیے کوئی امید نہیں ہے۔ ہمارے لیے جو آخرت کا تصور ہے خود جو ہے یہ ایک ہوپ فل سچویشن ہے، اس میں امید دلائی جاتی ہے کہ خداوند عالم آخر میں یقیناً ہمارے حالات کو بہتر بنائے گا، اگر اس دنیا میں نہیں تو کم سے کم آخرت میں۔ کبھی کبھی جو ہے کمال کو حاصل کرنے کے لیے انسان کو دنیا کے ابتلاعات اور امتحان اور ڈیفیکلٹیز کو ایکسیپٹ کرنا پڑتا ہے۔ کبھی کبھی وہ انسان اپنے کمالات کو ثابت کرنے کے لیے خود ہی ڈوب جاتا ہے تکلیفوں میں، کہتا ہے خداوندہ تمہیں امتحان لینا ہے، ہم تیار ہیں، بس ہمیں وہ طاقت دے کہ ہم اس امتحان سے گزر سکیں۔ امام حسین علیہ السلام کے لیے کیا بات تھی وہاں؟ دنیاوی طور پہ موت کی بات تھی، زندگی ختم ہو جائے گی، لیکن حسین ابن علی کے لیے حقیقت صرف دنیا نہیں ہے، دنیا کے ساتھ ایک آخرت بھی ہے۔ اور اسی لیے آپ دیکھیں کہ مشکل سے مشکل مرحلے میں حسین ابن علی نے جو ہے تکلیفوں کو برداشت کیا ہے، اس کو ایکسیپٹ کیا ہے، اس کی طرف بڑھے ہیں۔ تبھی تو ہمارے چھٹے امام کہتے ہیں کہ ہمارے جتنے امام ہیں اول سے لے کے آخر تک، سب کے بارے میں ایک جملہ کہتے ہیں کہ سب ہم جتنے امام ہیں پہلے سے لے کے 12ویں تک، سب ہم سفن النجات ہیں، ہم لوگ نجات کی کشتی ہیں، وی آر دی آرک آف سالویشن۔ لیکن پھر کہتے ہیں لیکن ایک ڈفرنس ہے، فَإِنَّ السَّفِينَةُ جَدِّ الْحُسَيْنِ، لیکن وہ سفینہ جو میرے جد حسین کا ہے ان تمام سفینوں میں سے زیادہ واسٹ ہے، وائڈ ہے، اور اس کی سپیڈ سب سے تیز ہے۔ خداوند عالم نے یہ فضیلت ائمہ اہل بیت میں حسین ابن علی کو کیوں دی ہے؟ اس لیے کہ حسین ابن علی نے جانتے ہوئے، ارادہ کرتے ہوئے ان مصائب کو برداشت کیا تھا تاکہ دین الہی کو وہ بچا سکیں۔ آپ سوچ لیں کہ جو کچھ اشعار پیش کیے جاتے ہیں کربلا کے حوالے سے، جس میں ایک جملہ یہ ہے کہ حسین ابن علی نے آخری مرحلے میں جو کچھ اشعار پڑھے تھے، اس میں سے ایک جملہ یہی تھا کہ خداوندہ ترکت الخلق فی ہواک، کہ خداوندہ ہم نے اس پوری دنیا کو چھوڑ دیا ہے تیری محبت کے خاطر، وَأَيْتَمْتُ الْعَيَالَ لِكَيْ أَرَاكَ، اور میں نے اپنے بچوں کے یتیم ہونا گوارا کیا ہے کہ وہ یتیم ہو جائیں تاکہ تیرے جمال کی زیارت ہو سکے۔ یہ جذبہ تھا حسین ابن علی کا، اور اسی لیے آپ دیکھیں کہ جب ششماہے کو تیر لگا ہے، حسین ابن علی کے لیے بڑا مشکل مرحلہ تھا اس وقت، لیکن جب آتے ہیں خیمے کی طرف زبان پر کیا جملے تھے، یقیناً آنسو ضرور تھے آنکھ میں، لیکن زبان پر کوئی شکوہ نہیں تھا، رضا بقضائہ و تسلیما لامرہ۔ اور یہ بار بار یہ جملہ کہتے رہے کہ خداوندہ تو نے جو قضاء و قدر کی بات کی ہے، ہمارے لیے جو کچھ ہے، ہم اس امتحان سے گزرنا چاہیں گے اور خوبی کے ساتھ گزرنا چاہیں گے۔ عزاداران حسین، یہ چند لمحے جو ہے عاشور کے دن کے، کہ جو حسین مقتل سے لے کر خیمہ گاہ تک اصغر کو لیے ہوئے اپنے ہاتھ میں جب جا رہے تھے، یہ سب سے مشکل مرحلہ تھا حسین کے لیے اس دن۔ یہ پوری دنیا اپنے تمام وسعتوں کے باوجود حسین کے لیے تنگ ہو چکی تھی، اور آخر میں شیخ عباس قمی کی روایت ہے، نفس المحموم میں بیان کرتے ہیں کہ ہمت نہیں ہوئی حسین کی کہ اصغر کو جناب رباب کے سامنے لے جائیں، بلکہ روایت میں یہی ہے کہ ایک آواز آئی، دعہ یا فی التراب یا حسین، حسین اس چشماہے کو جو ہے زمین کربلا میں تم دفن کر دو، ہم نے جنت میں دودھ پلانے والی کا انتظام کیا ہے۔ عجب نہیں کہ فاطمۃ الزہرا نے جب اس منظر کو دیکھا ہوگا اور اپنے بیٹے کی اس تکلیف کو اور اذیت کو دیکھا ہوگا، انہوں نے کہا ہوگا خداوندہ رباب برداشت نہ کر سکے گی، حسین کو حکم دے دو کہ وہ اصغر کو دفن کر دے، ہم جنت میں دودھ پلانے والے کا انتظام کر لیں گے۔ الا لعنۃ اللہ علی القوم الظالمین سیعلم الذین ظلموا ای منقلب ینقلبون۔ خداوند اس قلیل بات قبول فرما، ہمارے گناہوں کو بخش دے، ہماری توفیقات میں اضافہ فرما، امام کے ظہور میں تعاجل فرما۔ ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم۔